Hello and welcome to a bit of everything film trivia, where we blend movie magic with mind-bending challenges. Whether you're stuck in traffic, chilling with your friends, or just need a mental workout, this quiz has got you covered. Each episode is a wild ride through a specific film, packed with 4 thrilling categories to test your cinematic savvy. Get ready for 20 brain-twisting questions in general knowledge, 10 juicy insights in behind the scenes, 5 worldly wonders in real world, and to cap it off, a brain-teasing Who Am I final. So hold on to your popcorn and get ready for the ultimate movie showdown. Remember, you've got just 5 seconds to ponder each question before I spill the beans. I'm your host, Rebel Rune, and this is A Bit of Everything Film Trivia. Let the games begin. I'm king of the world! This week's episode, we hold tight to the railing while the ship goes down and we look at the 1997 romantic disaster film, Titanic.
That's so stupid! Why'd you do that, huh? You're so stupid, Rose! Why did you do that? Why?
You jump, I jump, right?
Right.
Alright, trivia fiends, let's jump straight into general knowledge. Question 1. Where do the scientists find the image of Rose? Locked in a safe. Question 2. Who asked this question? Oh baby, are you seeing this, boss? Mr. Bodine. Question 3. What does Old Rose say the Titanic was called? The Ship of Dreams. Question 4. Complete Fabrizio's line. I can see the what already? Very small, of course. Statue of Liberty. Question 5. What is the main colour of Rose's dress when she wants to jump off the back of the ship? Red. Question 6. How much did Cal suggest Mr. Lovejoy give to Jack for saving Rose? $20. Question 7. What were Cal's feelings about Picasso's paintings? He didn't think the artist would ever amount to anything. Question 8. Jack's favourite nude model was also a what? One-legged prostitute. Question 9. Who lent Jack the suit to wear when he went to the dinner with Rose and Cal? And secondly, whose was it? Molly Brown gave him the suit, and it was her son's. Question 10. What did Rose use to remove Jack's handcuffs? An axe. Question 11. Finish this quote. Water, that cold, like down there, it hits you like 1,000 watt. Knives. Question 12. Where did Jack and Rose make love for the first time and only time? In a car. A 1912 Renault Type CB Coupe de Ville, to be exact. Question 13. Who has to enter the time of the collision in the log? Sixth Officer Moody. Question 14. What was the name of the lookout who saw the iceberg? Frederick Fleet. Question 15. Who shot Tommy and then killed himself? Will Murdoch. Question 16. What was the last thing Rose said to Jack before she let his body go down in the water? I'll never let go, Jack. I'll never let go, I promise. Question 17. How many people were rescued from the Atlantic the next morning, according to Rose? 6. Question 18. Whose last name did Rose end up taking? Jack's. How did Cal die? He shot himself during the Great Depression. Drama queen. Question 20. Name the iconic necklace that old Rose drops into the sea. The Heart of the Ocean. Well, that's it for the general knowledge section. Once again, it was really hard to narrow it down to just 20 questions. My list was originally very long, but not to worry, there are plenty more in the coming sections. Time for behind the scenes. Let's get into it. Question 1. Why was the ship's departure filmed in reverse? To save money. Even though the movie had a huge $200 million budget, production still tried to save money where possible. Apparently, Cameron decided that building only half of the ship was necessary. He chose to replicate the starboard side because at the filming location, the wind would blow the funnel smoke aft, simulating forward movement. The problem with this, though, in real life, is that the departure from Southampton, Titanic was docked on the port side. Everything on scene had to be built and done backwards and then flipped in post-production to maintain historical accuracy. So if the script said one was to walk right, they had to walk left. Also, everything in writing had to be reversed, and even the costumes were designed to appear correct only once the footage was flipped. Question 2. What ridiculously expensive food were the actors fed during the first-class dining scenes? Real beluga caviar. If the production saved money on things like building only half of the ship, they didn't spare any expense in other areas. In the scene where Jack goes to dinner in the first-class dining room, he's served caviar. To make the scene more authentic, the actors were served real beluga caviar, which is the most expensive type of caviar. The prices can range anywhere from $3,500 to $5,000 for a pound, which is only about 453 grams. That's just nuts. Question 3. True or false? Rose spitting on Cal's face was scripted. False. Kate Winslet was improvising. The moment where Jack is showing Rose how to spit was largely unscripted, yet it left a lasting impression on the actress. Motivated by this, she chose to apply her newfound skill in other spontaneous moments. During the chaos of the sinking ship, Rose attempts to escape from her mother and fiancé to reunite with Jack. Cal, her betrothed, tries to detain her by grabbing her arm. In a bold move, Rose spits in his face to escape his grasp. This creative choice was a deviation from the original script, which suggested she use a hairpin, but the act of spitting, a technique taught by Jack, proved more effective. Furthermore, Billy Zane, the actor portraying Cal, was taken aback by Winslet's improvisation, making his reaction of shock and revulsion authentic. It was a great loogie. Question 4. How much water was used to film the flooding of the Grand Staircase? $90,000 gallons, or about 340,000 litres. The Grand Staircase in the movie set was constructed to endure significant water damage, not only just to appear realistic to the audience. Given the extent of destruction the volume of water would cause, the production team was aware that they had only one opportunity to capture this pivotal scene perfectly. Question 5. True or false? The carpets for the movie set were made by the same manufacturers who made them for the real Titanic. True. Cameron persuaded the firm who made the carpets for the real Titanic, BMK Stoddard of England, to make carpets for the movie. The manufacturers still had the patterns of the original carpet, and they can be seen in the main salon at the bottom of the grand staircase, in the corridors and suites. Question 6. When Jack sketches Rose, what is unusual about his hands? They're too aged for someone in their early 20s. The close-ups of the sketch as it's being drawn show hands that are much older looking than Jack's would have been. The hands actually belong to director James Cameron, who did the sketch. Question 7. The day after Jack saves Rose, they're walking along the promenade. What unlikely object is in the background? A hill. The small hill with a building on it is visible over Jack's shoulder and above the ship. Question 8. True or false? Kate Winslet nearly drowned during filming. True. Sometimes accidents happen. And in the scene where Jack and Rose flee from the surge of water in the corridor, Winslet's coat snagged on a gate, nearly causing her to drown. Fortunately, she was able to free herself from the heavy coat. She chose not to mention the incident to James Cameron, not wanting to seem weak, and she continued filming. Later, Cameron had stated that Winslet was never in any real physical danger. Question 9. How many Academy Awards did Titanic win? 11. But surprisingly none for acting. Although 87-year-old Gloria Stewart, Old Rose, was considered a lock for the Best Supporting Actress, she lost to Kim Basinger, or Basinger, however you pronounce her last name, for LA Confidential. Winslet was nominated for Best Actress, but lost to Helen Hunt for As Good as It Gets. Question 10. True or false? James Cameron didn't want any music with singing in it in his film. True. Cameron didn't want any music with singing in it. Even more so, he didn't want it to end with a pop song. He originally wanted Enya to compose the score for the film, but when she declined, Cameron turned to James Horner. Horner knew Cameron's vision, but he still secretly arranged to record a demo tape with Celine Dion of My Heart Will Go On, which he showed Cameron. In the end, the director changed his mind. How could you not have? The song became Dion's signature and one of the most memorable elements of the Titanic. From today's perspective, the music and the film are truly inseparable. Alright, so how did you do in that round? Time for some real world. Question 1. True or false? The underwater footage of the shipwreck was CGI. False. Cameron personally explored the Titanic's wreck, driven by his fascination with shipwrecks. His inspiration for the film sparked after meeting Robert Ballard, who led the team that found the Titanic's remains. Production began in 1995, with Cameron and his team diving to the actual site. Remarkably, Cameron spent more time with the Titanic than its passengers did in 1912, diving 12 times and spending 15 to 17 hours on each visit to capture footage and absorb the tragedy's depth. This footage enhanced the film's realism. Cameron's immersive experience aimed to convey to audiences that the Titanic story was a genuine tragedy that affected real lives, emphasizing the human aspect beyond the dramatic narrative. Question 2. Unsinkable Molly Brown, the Colorado socialite, was aboard the Titanic and was instrumental in saving her lifeboat full of women. But what was incorrect about Molly's portrayal in the movie? She wasn't called Molly. Often mistakenly called Molly, she was actually named Margaret. The nickname Molly became popular after her death, especially through Jean Fowler's 1933 book, Timber Lane, and the subsequent adaptations, including the 1960 musical and James Cameron's Titanic. Historically, she was known as Margaret or Maggie. Question 3. True or false? The elderly couple laying in bed while the ship was sinking was based on real people. true. The elderly couple seen laying in bed while the musicians are playing and the water is rushing into their room is based on real passengers from the unfortunate ship. The passengers on the real Titanic were Isidore and Edith Strauss, and their love story is just as touching as Jack and Rose's. They were married for 40 years, and witnesses say they were allowed on the lifeboats because of their age. Still, Isidore refused to get on before every woman and child left the ship. His wife decided to stay with her husband, and they were last seen on the boat deck sitting in a pair of deck chairs and holding hands until they both perished. Question 4. What significant change in the movie did Neil deGrasse Tyson prompt years later? The star field visible when Rose is laying on the driftwood. The renowned astrophysicist prompted the change in the Titanic movie years after its release. He pointed out the inaccuracy in the star field, noting it wasn't what she would have actually seen at that time and place. After receiving a quite snarky email from Tyson about this, Cameron, ever the perfectionist, reshot it to correct the star field for the movie's 3D edition. Question 5. Jack mentions going ice fishing on Lake Wissota as a youth, but what's wrong with this statement? Lake Wissota wasn't created until after the Titanic sank. The movie has many accurate details reflecting our knowledge about the real-life Titanic and those on board, and we all know that James Cameron went to great lengths and depths to get as much of the detail accurate as possible. Yet there are a few errors too. Like this one, for example, Jack told Rose that he went fishing on Lake Wissota in Wisconsin with his father when he was a boy. The lake was formed by constructing a dam which was finished in 1917, and the Titanic disaster occurred in 1912. So it would have been impossible for Jack to go fishing there unless you believe the theory that Jack was a time traveller. So there you have it, folks. So next time you're scratching your head over historical inaccuracies, just remember, maybe it's not a mistake. Maybe it's just Jack Dawson, time traveller extraordinaire, showing us that he's got more tricks up his sleeve than just winning at poker and sketching French women. Who knew the real unsinkable story was Jack's timeline. Final category is Who Am I? Born February 24, 1966 in Chicago, Illinois, to William and Thalia. After completing a year of school at the American School in Switzerland, I graduated from Francis W. Parker School and attended Harrand Camp of the Theatre Arts in Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. I grew up in the Greek Orthodox faith. My older sister Lisa is an actress and singer in her own right. My first 2 screen roles were in the science fiction films Back to the Future in 1985 and Critters 1986. In 1989, my henchman role returned in Back to the Future Part 2. I also played the eponymous classic comic book hero in the big-budget action film The Phantom, based on Lee Falk's comic. I am Billy Zane, who played the snobbish millionaire misanthrope Cal Hockley. Did you get who it was? Well, that's it for this episode. Thanks for navigating through the icy waters with me while we tested your knowledge. Remember, unlike the unsinkable ship, our journey through the world of facts and fun never has to end. So don't forget to subscribe to catch every episode and follow on the socials at Rebel Room Co. If you want to request a movie for me to focus on or let me know some additional facts or trivia that I might have missed, send me an email at rebelroomco@gmail.com. May your popcorn be perfectly buttered and your remote always be within reach. Stay real, stay trivia savvy, and keep the credits rolling. Until next time, create mayhem.